Hello everyone. In this video we will discuss about Bessel differential equation and its corresponding solution. So the Bessel differential equation is of this form: x square into d square y by dx square plus x into dy by dx plus x square minus n square into y equals to 0. This is the form of Bessel differential equation. It is a second order linear differential equation, and the condition on n is this n can be integer or it can be half integer. Solution of this differential equation is actually known as Bessel functions, and it is of very much importance in our physical problems. So let's have a look on how we can obtain the solution of this differential equation. So first of all, we will try to simplify this equation in the general form for a second order linear differential equation, and from that we can write that px from this differential equation can be 1 over x, and qx is 1 minus n square over x square. How can we get px and qx? We simply have to make the coefficient of d square y by dx square as unity. So dividing throughout by x square, there will be 1, and here it will be 1 over x, and here it will be x square minus n square over x square. So from that we can write px is 1 over x and qx is 1 minus n square over x square. So obviously x equals to 0 is a singular point, and further we can check that x equals to 0 will be a regular singular point. For that you have to check x minus x naught into px and x minus x naught square into qx. This both expressions must be analytic, or they must be finite, so that you can say this x equals to 0 is a regular singular point. We can check it. So it is verified that x equals to 0 is a regular singular point. So here we will apply the Frobenius method. So for Frobenius method, the series solution, the form for the series solution will be like this: summation over k from 0 to infinity. The solution is assumed like this: y equals to summation over k going from 0 to infinity ak x raised to power m plus k, and the condition is one of the coefficient must be non-zero, and we take a naught as non-zero coefficient. So we had named this as equation second, and the earlier differential equation, that is Bessel differential equation, is named as equation first. So once we have y, then we can easily find y prime and y double prime. Y prime will be summation over k going from 0 to infinity ak m plus k x raised to power m plus k minus 1, and similarly y double prime can be found summation over k going from 0 to infinity ak m plus k minus 1 into x raised to power m plus k minus 2. So now we have y prime and y double prime. In the next step, what will we do? We will simply use the value of y prime and y double prime in our given differential equation. So given differential equation is x square into d square y by dx square. So x square into this, so this will be ak m plus k minus 1 into x raised to power m plus k. Y double prime is x raised to power m plus k minus 2, and after multiplying this term with x square, this will become x raised to power m plus k, plus the next term is x into dy by dx. So dy by dx is this. After multiplying with x, this will also have the power x raised to power m plus k into these coefficients ak m plus k, plus the last term is x square minus n square into y. So y is this. So after multiplying with x square, this will become ak into x raised to power m plus k plus 2 minus of n square into y. So minus n square, and y is this ak into x raised to power m plus k equals to 0. We can simply rearrange these equations like summation over k going from 0 to infinity ak. So look at this. This term also have x raised to power m plus k, this term also have x raised to power m plus k, and this term. So I am taking ak common and x raised to power m plus k from all these three terms, first, second and fourth term. So the remaining term inside the bracket will be, from here it will be m plus k into m plus k minus 1, and from the second term it will be plus m plus k, and from last term it will be minus n square into x raised to power m plus k. The remaining term is summation over k going from 0 to infinity ak x raised to power m plus k plus 2, that is our third term, equals to 0. Again we can more simplify it. It will be summation over k going from 0 to infinity ak, just multiply this m plus k into m plus k, this will be m plus k square, and when this m plus k is multiplied with this minus 1, it will be minus of m plus k, and plus of m plus k is already there, so that will be cancelled out. So the remaining term is only m plus k whole square minus of this n square into x raised to power m plus k plus summation over k going from 0 to infinity ak x raised to power m plus k plus 2 equals to 0. So we had just named this as equation third. So look at this equation third. On the left hand side of this equation there are various terms, or you can say it is a polynomial in x because it contains different powers of x depending on the value of the summation index, because the summation index is actually running from 0 to infinity. So this term also will have different powers of x, this will also have different powers of x, but on the right hand side it is 0. So when this equality, or when this condition of equality can be satisfied, it is only possible when the coefficient of different powers of x is separately made equal to 0. Again I am repeating this. On the left hand side there are different terms with different powers of x, but on the right hand side there is 0, and this equality can be satisfied or can be held only when the coefficient of different powers of these x is separately made equal to 0. So that's our next step. In the next step I had mentioned it, equation third is a polynomial in x, and on right hand side there is 0. So this can be satisfied only if the coefficient of each power of x is equal to 0. So equating to 0 the coefficient of lowest power of x, we will start with the lowest power and go on comparing or equating the next powers of x. So the lowest power corresponding to the earlier equation, that is equation third, is x raised to power m. So on equating to 0 we will get our initial equations. So look at this equation third. From this equation third, the lowest power is when k equals to 0, this will give you x raised to power m, and when k is 0, this will give you x raised to power m plus 2. So the lowest power is x raised to power m, and when we will equate the coefficient for this lowest power to 0, we will have a naught, because we are putting k equals to 0, into m square minus n square equals to 0. The earlier assumed condition is a naught must be non-zero. So if a naught is non-zero, the only possibility remaining is this m square minus n square must be 0. So that is m equals to plus minus n. So that's the solution of our initial equation. So here it is. There are two different values of m. One value is plus n and the other value is minus n. So this condition or this value of m is obtained after equating the coefficient of x raised to power m to 0. In the next step we will equate the coefficient of x raised to power m plus 1. So the next power is x raised to power m plus 1, and on equating the coefficient of x raised to power m plus 1, the condition obtained is a1 times m plus 1 whole square minus n square equals to 0. So look at this condition, this entire term is equal to 0, and we had obtained the value of m as plus n or minus n. For either of the values of m, whether it is m equals to plus n or minus n, the term in this bracket cannot be 0. When m is n, so obviously it will be a1 into 1 equals to 0, so that will give a1 equals to 0. Similarly, when m equals to minus n, this term inside the bracket will not be 0, so the only possibility coming out is a1 must be 0. So the odd coefficient, the first odd coefficient, that is a1, comes out to be 0. So in the next step we will equate the coefficient of x raised to power m plus k. To equate the coefficient of x raised to power m plus k, First we have to make all terms of x in the power of x raised to power m plus k. And how we can do this? We simply have to shift the summation index for the second term, because the three terms are already in terms of x raised to power m plus k. The only remaining term is the last term, that is this one, ak into x raised to power m plus k plus 2. So if I have to write this in terms of x raised to power m plus k, I simply have to shift k by k minus 2. If I shift k by k minus 2, then this will be x raised to power m plus k, and the summation which is starting from 0 to infinity, now it will start from k equals to 2 to infinity. So this simplification, after this simplification, this term can be written as summation over k starting from 2 to infinity ak minus 2 and x raised to power m plus k. And this term is already in terms of x raised to power m plus k. Now this is also in terms of x raised to power m plus k. So we can equate the coefficient of x raised to power m plus k. So that will give you ak times m plus k whole square minus n square equals to, on the right hand side it will be minus of ak minus 2. So that can be written as ak equals to minus of ak minus 2 divided by m plus k square minus n square. This can again be simplified as a square minus b square. So it can be written as a plus b into a minus b. So we have ak equals to minus of ak minus 2 divided by m plus k plus n, that is a plus b, and a minus b. So it will be m plus k minus n. So this is our general recurrence relations, and the condition for this recurrence relation is k must be greater than equal to 2, because the lowest coefficient we can determine from this recurrence relation is a2 after putting k equals to 2. So when we will put k equals to 2, it will be in terms of a naught. So that's why the condition here is k must be greater than equal to 2, and we had named this as equation 5th. Also we had shown that the first order coefficient a1 is 0. So this is the recurrence relation which actually relates the coefficient ak with ak minus 2. So on the behalf of that a1 equals to 0, we can say a3, a5, a7, a9, all odd coefficients will be 0, because a1 is 0. So when we will find a3, we have to put k equals to 3 here. So a3 will be in terms of minus a1, and a1 is already 0. So a3 will also be 0. Since a3 is 0, so when we will determine a5, that will also comes out to be 0. So therefore we can write all odd coefficients including a1 are 0. Clear? So in the next step, since there are two different values of m, the one value is plus n and the other value is minus n, and the condition on n is this n can be either integer or it can be half integer. So first of all we will discuss about our first case, that stands for when m equals to n. So look at this recurrence relation. The recurrence relation obtained is this. So corresponding to first case, when m is n, so it will be ak equals to minus of ak minus 2, and simply put m equals to n in this. So it will be n plus k plus n, that is k plus 2n, and for this it is n plus k minus n, so it will be only k. So ak is minus of ak minus 2 divided by k into k plus 2n, and the condition is again k must be greater than equal to 2. So name this as equation 6th, and from there we can get the different coefficients on putting the value of k in this recurrence relation. So we will start with k equals to 2. After putting k equals to 2, we can have a2 as, just put k equals to 2 in this recurrence relation, it will be minus of a naught divided by 2 into 2 plus 2n, and this can be simplified as minus of a naught divided by, taking 2 common from this term, there it will be 2 raised to power 2 into n plus 1. So now no need to put k equals to 3, because we had already mentioned that these odd coefficients will be 0. So after this we will find the value of a4. After putting k equals to 4 in this recurrence relation, it will be minus of a2 divided by 4 into 4 plus 2n, and again this a4 can be written in terms of a naught, because a2 is already known in terms of a naught. So a4 can be known in terms of a naught as a naught over 2 raised to power 4 into 2 factorial n plus 1 n plus 2. We can take the 2 common from there, so it will be n plus 2, and n plus 1 is already for a2, so it will contain both term n plus 1 n plus 2, 2 raised to power 4 into 2 factorial. Similarly, we can find a6. a6 will be minus of a4 divided by 6 into 6 plus 2n. Again 2 can be taken common, so it will be 6 into 2 into n plus 3, and this a4 is actually this in terms of a naught. So we can use the value of a4 to determine the value of a6 in terms of a naught, and it will be minus of a naught divided by 2 raised to power 6 into 3 factorial n plus 1 n plus 2 into n plus 3. So you are observing that there is a pattern, there is a certain pattern in each coefficients. Look at a2. a2 is actually minus a naught over 2 raised to power 2 into n plus 1. a4 is plus a naught over 2 raised to power 4 into 2 factorial into n plus 1 n plus 2. For a6 it is minus a naught over 2 raised to power 6 3 factorial n plus 1 n plus 2 n plus 3. So if I ask about a8, then a8 will be, because the alternate terms are minus plus minus, so a8 will be definitely plus a naught over 2 raised to power 8 into 4 factorial n plus 1 n plus 2 n plus 3 up to n plus 4. So I had written the general coefficient a2k, because all odd coefficients are 0, so that's why I had written here a2k, and a2k will be minus 1 raised to power k into a naught divided by, so look at this pattern, it is 2 raised to power 2, it is 2 raised to power 4, it is 2 raised to power 6. So for a2k it will be 2 raised to power 2k. You can cross check it when you will put k equals to 1, so it will be a2, and a2 will be 2 raised to power 2. So from here we are getting 2 raised to power 2. For a4 it is 2 raised to power 4, so putting k equals to 2 we are getting 2 raised to power 4. So it is 2 raised to power 2k. Here it is 1 factorial, 2 factorial, 3 factorial. So for a2k it will be 1 into 2 into 3 into up to k. So whatever be the value of k, that will give you that much factorial. For a2 it is 1 factorial, for a4 it is 2 factorial, for a6 it is 3 factorial, for a2k it will be, this term will give you k factorial. Clear? And the remaining terms are n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3, n plus 4 up to what? N plus k, because a6 is obtained after putting k equals to 6 here. So here it is n plus 3. So for a2k it can be written as n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3 up to n plus k times. Clear? Because we had included the contribution from the odd coefficients also. As odd coefficients are 0, so we can replace a(k) by simply a2k. Okay. In the next step we had assumed the value of this a naught, because earlier we had assumed that a naught must be non-zero. So the value of a naught is assumed like 1 by 2 raised to power n into gamma of n plus 1, and this can be written as 1 by 2 raised to power n into n factorial, because we know that gamma of n plus 1 is n factorial. So after using this value of a naught in this reconciliation, or in this the coefficient a2k formula, it will be a2k is minus 1 raised to power k, 2 raised to power 2k is already there, and it have 2 raised to power n, so that can be combined to write 2 raised to power n plus 2k. This thing is k factorial, n factorial from there, and the remaining term is n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3 up to n plus k. So look at this term in the denominator. In numerator there is minus 1 raised to power k, but in the denominator there is 2 raised to power n plus 2k. We can write this as it is. There it is k factorial as it is. And now look at these terms. N factorial, n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3, n plus 4 up to n plus k. If I read these terms from the back side, then it will be n plus k minus 1, n plus k minus 2, n plus k minus 3 up to n plus 3, n plus 2, n plus 1, and then n factorial. So this entire thing, including this n factorial, and reading from backward, it can be written as n plus k factorial. This entire thing actually can be represented as n plus k factorial. Okay, and this n plus k factorial can be written in terms of gamma function as gamma of n plus k plus 1. Clear? So a to k becomes minus 1 raised to power k 2 raised to power n plus 2k into k factorial gamma of n plus k plus 1. Clear? So this is our relation for a to k, and we had named this as equation 8. Again, I had mentioned that since all odd coefficients are 0, so therefore the assumed solution as in case of Frobenius method corresponding to regular singular point, and that can be written in terms of even coefficients. And how we can write this in terms of even coefficients? Let me show you. The assumed solution is this, the earlier assumed solution is this, summation over k going from 0 to infinity ak into x raised to power m plus k. So since odd coefficients are 0, so I can write this in terms of even coefficients, only in terms of even coefficients, like this summation over k going from 0 to infinity a 2k into x raised to power m plus 2k. Because when k is 0, it will give you a naught. When k is 1, it will be a2 times this term. When k is 2, it will be a4 times this term. So there is no a1, a3, a5. That is, there is no odd coefficient involved, because all odd coefficients comes out to be 0. So this case we are discussing for m equals to n. So you can put m equals to n here. So that will be y equals to summation over k going from 0 to infinity a 2k x raised to power n plus 2k. Now we have to put the value of a 2k in this, and the value of a 2k that is solved is this summation over k going from 0 to infinity. It is minus 1 raised to power k factorial gamma of n plus k plus 1. It is x raised to power n plus 2k, and this is 2 raised to power n plus 2k. And this can be combined to write y as summation over k going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power k factorial gamma of n plus k plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power n plus 2k. And that entire term, or that entire expression, that is this one, is actually known as Bessel function of first kind. Bessel functions of first kind of what order? Of order n. So that's why I had write this as, this is nothing but this is Bessel function of first kind of order n, and the notation for this is Jnx. So Jnx will be simply summation over k going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power k over k factorial into gamma of n plus k plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power n plus 2k. So that's our first solution, that is Bessel function of first kind of order n. Clear? In the next step, we can solve this for the second case. So in the next step, we can solve this for the second case, that is when m equals to minus n. So this is the Bessel function of first kind of order n for m equals to n, and for m equals to minus n we can simply replace this n in the earlier solution by minus n. So the solution obtained will be like this. It will be j minus nx equals to summation over k going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power k factorial. We are replacing n by minus n, so it will be that earlier it is gamma of n plus k plus 1, now it will be gamma of minus n plus k plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power n plus 2k. So n is replaced by minus n, so it is x by 2 raised to power minus n plus 2k, and we had named this as equation 11th. The earlier solution, that is Bessel function, is termed as equation 10, and this is termed as equation 11th. So look at this denominator. It contains gamma function, and that is gamma of minus n plus k plus 1. And we know that argument of the gamma function must be positive. Argument of gamma function must be greater than 0, because the factorial is not defined for negative values. this gamma function can be written in terms of factorial, and it will be gamma of minus n plus k plus 1, that is equals to minus n plus k factorial. So summation is actually starting from 0 to infinity. So whenever the value of k is actually less than this minus n, then there will be negative factorial, or the argument of the factorial will be negative, or we can say in terms of gamma function. So we have to remove, or we have to eliminate this condition, and this can be eliminated by simply substituting the summation index, or replacing the summation index by, earlier it is from 0 to infinity, now we have to shift this from k equals to n to infinity. Then it will be j minus nx equals to summation over k equals to n to infinity minus 1 raised to power k factorial gamma of minus n plus k plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power minus n plus 2k. Clear? So this is equation 12. After this, the earlier equation, that is this equation 11, it is known as Bessel functions of first kind. The only difference in this equation and the Jnx equation is that there is a change of minus n. So we had write that Bessel functions of first kind of order minus n. Clear? So the condition on n is, this n can be either integer or it can be half integer. So if n is not integral value, then complete solution of Bessel differential equation of order n, it can be written in terms of the linear combinations of two solutions, and the linear combinations of two solutions is like this: Jnx and J minus nx are the two Li solutions, that is two linear independent solutions. So that's why the complete solution is C1 times Jnx plus C2 times J minus nx. Okay. So now we will discuss about our first case, that is when n is 0, because we know that this J and x is summation over k going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power k factorial gamma of n plus k plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power n plus 2k. This n, the condition on this small n is, this n can be either integer or it can be half integer. So first we are going to solve it for n equals to 0. So it will be j naught x, and j naught x will be summation over k going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power k factorial gamma of k plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power 2k. We have to put n equals to 0. So this will be the expression in compact form for j naught x. Clear? So now this compact form or this summation can be opened, and this will be j naught x equals to first term when k is 0. So this term will give you 1, x by 2 raised to power 0, so it will be also 1. Next term when k is 1, so it is minus 1 raised to power k, so this will give you minus. So for k equals to 1, the only term we are getting is x by 2, and it is 2k. So putting k equals to 1, we will have x by 2 square. Similarly for k equals to 2, it will be plus of x by 2 raised to power 4 into 1 by 2 factorial minus x by 2 raised to power 6 into 1 by 3 factorial whole square, and so on. So this is the equation 13, and this is the expression for j naught x. Clear? Now we will discuss about some of the remarks from this Bessel functions of first kind of order n. We clearly know, look at the expression for j minus nx. J minus nx is this. It is summation over k going from n to infinity minus 1 raised to power k factorial gamma of minus n plus k plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power minus n plus 2k. So from this equation we can replace the variable as, I had put s equals to minus of n plus k, or you can write this as s equals to k minus n. So I am replacing this variable. For k, the summation is from n to infinity, and for this variable s, the summation will now run from 0 to infinity. How it is? Because look at this, when k is n, s will be k minus n, so it is n minus n 0, and when k is infinity, so s will be also run from 0 to infinity. So j minus nx can be written as summation over s going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power s plus n divided by this k factorial, and this k factorial is k is actually s plus n, so this can be written as s plus n factorial, and this is gamma of minus n plus k plus 1. So minus n plus k is s, so it is gamma of s plus 1 factorial into x by 2 raised to power minus n plus 2k, so k is s plus n, so 2k will be 2s plus 2n, so 2n minus n, it will be n plus 2s. Clear? So this can be again simplified to write this minus 1 raised to power s plus n can be written as minus 1 raised to power s into minus 1 raised to power n, as summation is on s, so this minus 1 raised to power n can be taken outside this summation index, so it will be summation over s going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power s over this gamma of s plus 1 can be written in terms of factorial, and as we know that gamma of n plus 1 is n factorial, so similarly gamma of s plus 1 is nothing but it is s factorial, and similarly this factorial can be written in terms of gamma function, so this s plus n factorial can be written as gamma of s plus n plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power n plus 2s. So look at this term, except this minus 1 raised to power n, this is nothing but this is the entire expression for the jnx. We had earlier obtained this. The only difference is that now the variable is not k but it is s, but the form is quite similar. So this expression inside this bracket can be expressed or can be replaced by j nx. Clear? So we can say that j minus nx is nothing but it is minus 1 raised to power n times jnx, or you can say jnx is nothing but it is minus 1 raised to power n into j minus nx. Clear? And this result is applicable, or this is valid only when n is any integer. This result is not true when n is half integer. Remember this equality or this property holds only for the case when n have the integer value. Clear? So the second case we are going to discuss is the second remarks. Now we know that j naught x is nothing but this summation over k going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power k factorial gamma of k plus 1 into x by 2 raised to power 2k. Clear? We had earlier expressed this in terms of series like 1 minus x by 2 whole square plus x by 2 raised to power 4 into 1 by 2 factorial square minus x by 2 raised to power 6 into 1 by 3 factorial square, and so on. So now I would like to find j naught x at x equals to 0. So that's why I had written j naught 0. So it means you have to replace x by 0 in this expression. So look at these terms. All terms contain x except the first term. So when you will put x equals to 0, the entire terms will become 0 except this one. So you can say j naught 0 is nothing but it is 1. So this is very important remarks corresponding to Bessel function of first kind of order 0, because we are solving for n equals to 0. Okay. In the next case, j1x can be written as this summation over k going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power k factorial gamma of k plus 2 x by 2 raised to power 2k plus 1. Now again we had expressed this in terms of series j1x, and now j1 0, we would like to find j1 0, so we have to put x equals to 0 in this expression, and as all terms contain x, so after putting x equals to 0 all these terms will be 0. So j1 0 is nothing but it is 0. So we can say j naught 0 is 1 but j1 0 is 0. Similarly we can find j2x, j3x, j4x, and we can check their value at x equals to 0. All those results will be 0. So we can summarize these results in terms of a single expression, that is jn 0 is 0 when for n is not equal to 0. It means when n is 0, jn is not 0, but when n is not equal to 0, jn 0 comes out to be 0. We can clearly see because j naught at x equals to 0 is 1, but j1 0 is 0. Similarly j2 0 will be 0, j3 0 will be also 0. So you can say jn 0 is 0 for n is not equal to 0. The other important property for Bessel function is this jnx is even function corresponding to the case when n has the even values, and this is odd function when n is odd. We can easily check this using the expression for the jnx. And these Bessel functions are Actually, they are oscillatory functions with varying period and decreasing amplitudes. What does it mean? It means these functions, the solutions of the Bessel differential equations, that is Bessel functions, are continuously oscillatory functions, but their time period is continuously varying and their amplitude is constantly decreasing. Clear? We can plot them. Now look at the sixth case. I had written this as j half x. So what I had done, I had put n equals to half in the expression for j and x. So it will become summation over k going from 0 to infinity minus 1 raised to power k, k factorial gamma of k plus 3 by 2 into x by 2 raised to power 2k plus half. So first term for k equals to 0, there will be gamma of 3 by 2 into x by 2 raised to power k is 0. So it is x by 2 raised to power 1 by 2. For next term, k is 1, so it is minus, for k equals to 1 it is gamma of 5 by 2, 1 factorial, so no need to write 1 factorial here. X by 2 raised to power 2k plus half hai. So put k equals to 1, so it will be x by 2 raised to power 5 by 2. Similarly, the next term will be 1 by gamma of 7 by 2 into x by 2 raised to power 9 by 2 and so on. Clear? So we can simplify these gamma functions using their properties. So gamma of n plus 1 can be written as n gamma n. As we know, this gamma of n plus 1 can be written as n times gamma n. So this gamma 3 by 2 can be written as 1 by 2 gamma 1 by 2 into x by 2 raised to power half. Similarly, this gamma 5 by 2 can be written as 3 by 2 1 by 2 gamma 1 by 2. This gamma 7 by 2 can be written as 5 by 2 3 by 2 1 by 2 gamma of 1 by 2 into x by 2 raised to power 9 by 2 and so on. Clear? So in this way we can write the expression for j half x. In the next step, look at the next step. I had taken this term x by 2 raised to power half, and this gamma half is very well known result. It is nothing but gamma half is root pi. So I had taken x by 2 raised to power half into 1 by gamma of half common. So the remaining term is, this 2 will be in numerator, so it is 2 minus, for the second term we will have 2 over 3 factorial. Taking x by 2 raised to power half common, there will be x square. Clear? For the next term it will be 2 over 5 factorial x4 minus 2 over 7 factorial x6 plus and so on. Clear? So again we can take the 2 common from this term, this entire term. So it will be, so this is x raised to power half, so it can be written as root x over root 2. Taking 2 common, and in denominator there is root pi. So the remaining term inside the bracket is 1 minus x square by 3 factorial plus x raised to power 4 by 5 factorial minus x6 by 7 factorial and so on. And this term inside the bracket can be written in terms of sine functions by making it with the multiple of x. If I multiply this entire expression inside the bracket with x and divide it by the x, then there is no change in this equation. But after multiplying with x, the term inside the bracket will become x minus x cube by 3 factorial plus x5 by 5 factorial minus x7 by 7 factorial and so on. And this term is also divided by x. So there is square root of x in the numerator and there will be x in the denominator. So after cancelling, there will be root x in the denominator. So this can be combined to write as j half x is nothing but it is root 2 over pi x, and this term inside the bracket is, it is nothing but this entire term is sin x. Clear? So in this way we can find the value of j half x, and that comes out to be root 2 over pi x into sin x. Similarly, we can also solve for j minus half x, and for this you have to put n equals to minus half in the expression used for j and x, and that will be something like this. J half minus x is this. Again you can proceed in the similar way, and you can take this term common inside and then simplify it. So the term now will be not sin x, but it will be now cosine of x. So we can say j half x comes out to be root 2 over pi x into cos x. Clear? In the similar way we can also find the value of j 3 by 2. j minus 3 by 2x, j 5 by 2x, j minus 5 by 2x, and all these values will be this. We can easily cross check them by using the expression of j and x. Okay, so now we would like to discuss something more about this Bessel function. As we know that there are two values of m, that is m is either plus n or m is equals to minus n. So we had solved for the first case when m is n, so it is j n x, that is Bessel function of first kind of order n, and that is denoted by j n x. Then again we had solved for the second case when m is minus n, and we had obtained j minus nx. But both these j n x and j minus nx, these can give you your complete solution only in the case, what I am saying is, this jnx and j minus nx can give you the complete solution of Bessel differential equation only when this n is not having integers value. It means when n is half integer, then this linear combination actually can give you the complete solution, because in that case both jnx and j minus nx will be the linear independent solution of the Bessel differential equation. And for n equals to 0, the one root will be j naught x and the other root can be solved as discussed in the Frobenius method corresponding to the second case when the roots of the initial equations are equal. Clear? So the second root corresponding to n equals to 0 can be obtained from that approach. And now in the next video we will discuss about the complete solution of Bessel differential equation corresponding to the case when n is having integer value. In that case this will not be the complete solution, this will give only one linear independent solution, because we know that both j minus nx and jnx can be related by this expression. So that's why we can say this jnx and j minus nx are actually linearly dependent solutions, and this equality is valid only for the case when n is integer. So we cannot say that this result will give you the complete solution in case of n having integer value. Okay, so in next video we will discuss about the second solution of Bessel differential equation for the other case, or we will look at the approach how we can derive the second solution for the Bessel differential equation using the earlier known solution, that is jnx. Okay, that's all for this video. Thank you.